Hello and welcome. Are we live? Now we're live. So hello and welcome to another stream with me, Christian Rauchwald, on this beautiful Friday. I'm on a little bit early, but only for a short period of time. As always, we're going to take a look at GameStop using Elliott wave principle. I hope the connection is okay, since I'm still seeing some kind of warning there. And yeah, so I've changed my setup, which means I don't have all my desks here. I also have a call scheduled in 30 minutes, so I'll have to leave in between for a little bit. And yeah, now one of the things that already is mentioned in the chat, so hi P. Drake, hi Collins, eToro actually today sent out emails, and for those that already have or had GameStop shares by or on April 15th, so the voting, what's the right word, like deadline, or yeah, if you had shares back then, you are eligible to vote, and therefore makes it possible or made it possible for eToro users to vote. I already voted. And why is the voting so important? The voting is important because technically the company will then see how many votes are coming in, and obviously if there are a lot of synthetic shares out there, so shares that only exist because of shorting and are not real, then that would become obvious. Yeah, so because for those of you who don't know, when you short a stock, what you do technically is you borrow a share from somebody else and you sell it immediately, which means suddenly there are two shares, which means if both of so the person that originally holds the original share and the person that bought it from the short seller, if both people vote, there would technically be two votes for one share. So if everybody votes, then the company will get an idea of how many shares there are in addition to that. Now, as mentioned, changed my setup, so I only have my one screen, and that's also going to be the reason why I won't be able to stream. Hi David, great to have you here. David says, yeah, like so. I actually see the chat here as well. I wanted to switch to some other window, not this one, but that one. And yeah, so have to probably play around with the layout here since the MacBook screen is a little smaller than the screen that I'm usually using. And David says, hi, today is short program at Stock Exchange and Monday is close. Okay, like let's look that up. NASDAQ closing time. What's different today? Today. Gotta love Google. The 9 holidays, yeah, okay. What do we have? May. Okay. Do you know like how long it's going to be open today, David? Because I have honestly no idea. But yeah, in regards of the stream, I'll have another 25 minutes, then I'll have to jump on a call, during which I'll actually just gonna share a different screen with you guys, so that at least the chart is visible, although I'll have to share it from TradingView, which I'm trying to set up on the other screen right now. How do I switch to dark mode there? No, I did it in the past. The chart properties, yeah, but that's not it here. Dark color theme, there we go, and GME, yeah. And let's say 15 or 5 minutes, actually nice-ish, and zoom in a little bit. Okay, so chart is ready for later. And yeah, so that's about the voting on eToro, which is a nice thing to do. Like, it really shows that they care about the demand of the masses to make it possible. What they basically did is they set up a type form. I'm not sure if I still have it in my history. Type form. No. Oh yeah, there, from eToro. And then based on that, people were able to vote, and as you notice, it contains the username and email address in the URL. So based on that, then eToro is able to map the votes to the accounts, and therefore then to hopefully forward the votes properly. It's still going to be interesting to see how they handle fractional shares, because if you only own 0.5 shares, then you technically cannot vote. But if you vote, So like if there's two people with 0.5 shares, which together have then 1 share, and both vote the same, then I think it should not be a problem. But I think there will be 1 or 2 votes that will not be counted among thousands of votes, so not the biggest thing, yeah. But yeah, anyway, we had some movement this week in our favor, which was quite interesting. And GameStop now opens at 260, so we basically crushed it here. I'm gonna push this button so we only see the chart. And we're gonna zoom out a little bit to, let's say, hourly for the start. But too much, too little. So we have the end of our triangle pattern here, and from there on we technically have our wave 1, 2, the way it's labeled here. Let's double check this in terms of Fibonacci retracements. Yeah, we hit the 38.2 and break slightly through it and then bounce off. That kind of checks out. Also, if we look here, we could somehow say 1, 2 or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and make this an impulse. That down here could be an ugly zigzag, A, B, C, and then we would be in another impulse wave where we would technically could have something like 1, 2, and then 3, 4, 5. So that 5 actually ends here, but then, no, 5 needs to end here. So we would have 1, could be that we still haven't seen the end of that third wave here, though. Yeah, like so. If we get rid of this and undo that, so it's very likely because the third wave obviously should be the strongest. And if we, let's switch to 15 minutes for this. So if we use Kennedy channeling technique, then this would be our 0.0. Maybe this here or this here would be our 0.1. Doesn't make a huge difference. 0.2, and our 0.1 would be this, for example, or maybe this here, doesn't really matter. In this case, then 0.2 would be further forward. In any case, it indicates that the third wave movement is this here. And as a result, we would then have a fourth wave. And yeah, now it's possible that 0.3 is here, but it's also possible that we're still within wave 3. Especially if we go back to hourly. I'm not yet sharing, yeah. Thank you so much. Yeah, sorry. Common mistake. Probably most common mistake, yeah. Sorry so much for that, yeah. Yeah. That's the downside of removing my setup, that I really have lack of screens, so I don't see the chat in front of me. But it's, yeah, not the first time that it happens, so now we should actually see it. But anyway, so let's start over. So if we look at hourly, we can see here that we have wave from the end of the triangle, wave 1, 2. And if we double check this, we can see that the retracement that we had here is a little bit more than 38.2%, which makes this a very plausible case. Now on the hourly already, we could add a trend channel. So the base channel using the Kennedy channeling technique like this, which would indicate that this breakout here is this green third wave. Doesn't have to be over here, especially if we then use channeling technique further, for which we would do this and actually would expect the breakout to the bottom to confirm that we are in wave 4. So it's likely, it's possible that this is still wave 3 ongoing. So in this case, wave 4 hasn't yet happened, and wave 3 is still ongoing, and we're still waiting for wave 5, which will then make up this wave 1, the bigger one, yeah. And for that, if we look closer, we can look from, need to check, so like from this point 2, and I'm gonna quickly move the camera somewhere up, since this way it shouldn't overlay too much, and yep. And yeah, so from here, technically, we would have our 0.0, and either this or this here could be our 0.2. If we take that with our 0.1, which could be this one, but if this would be our 0.2, then maybe that could be our 0.1 or that. Doesn't make such a difference right now. And we see that would be our base channel, and this would again indicate that this is the breakout for wave number 3. Now technically this could be somehow like, for example, 1, 2, and this is now wave 3. However, if this were wave 3, we would need to fit another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in there. So it's more likely that it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which means, or it's possible that it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, in which case wave 3 would be ending here. And it's also possible that this is 1, 2, 3, because 3 also needs to subdivide into an impulse, and then 4 and 5, so that we haven't finished at wave 3. Right now I would tend more to say that this is wave 3 and that we already have seen wave 4, and that wave 4 likely finished back here. It could also be technically, or no, actually finished back here probably, so that we have a zigzag in some form, A, B, C, which is not perfect in shape, but if we look in price and we take this high point here, we can see that it pretty much on the spot matches. So followed by, yeah, that also would need to subdivide in some kind of zigzag probably if we look closer. This would be this part here. So A, B, C, or A, B, C. It's probably not perfect as always, but if we look here, actually it's close to perfect. So this length here, wave A, oh no, wrong. We would then pick this point here, B. Yeah, so likely not perfect, and followed by something like another zigzag down here, A, B, C, and giving us the starting point of our fifth wave in green up here. And we're going to zoom out a little bit again, and maybe even a little bit more. So which means today we should still see some upside, and if we do the thing that I'm still bad at and use Fibonacci retracements to try to figure out where we are going, actually before we use Fibonacci retracements, there is the option that we basically move the same distance in terms of price that we moved with one of the other waves, which would be 321 as a target, or this here would be more, obviously. So that would bring us to 350. On the other hand, however, if we use Fibonacci extensions, then the one price level that would jump into, that area would be the one where I put my money at in quotes. And basically I think 300 is where we're gonna bounce. Like, maybe we go above 300, maybe it goes to 320, that would be my opinion. But I think like 300 seems like another psychological barrier where enough people will pay per hand, or some people will pay per hand, or institutions, or whoever will sell a little bit and cause a drop. Now, as a result of the rules that we know from, from reading the book and so on, although I really need to reread parts of it. It's so hard if you don't label daily to remember everything. We would then expect from 300 technically to potentially go down again to 230, so like the area of wave 4, and then from here, which would then make up our wave 2. And also, if we use Kennedy channeling technique, wave 4 often touches onto the base channel, or the median, so the middle line that we currently cannot see, or we're going to get rid of that channel real quick, or the bottom in some cases. All three options here would be possible without rule violations, since wave 1 in our labeling here ends here at 190, 198, so 190 roughly. So even if it were to fall down till here, it would be valid in terms of the rules. However, the most likely case is that we, in my opinion, will see a drop into the area of 230 to 250, and then from there go up further, and we'll have stronger movement. Yeah. Now that would expect, so that assumes that this is already wave 3, wave 4, and now we're in the process of wave 5. We can also use the destination channel, so by connecting point 2 and point 4 through point 3, and we'll get a destination. Yeah. So basically wave 5 should touch the top of this trend channel. If we have strong momentum, we would suffer some or see something called a throw over, which usually would then mean that wave 2 will also correct a little bit further, or more than usual. But in general, if 300 would be the point we are aiming at, then it should happen. Today is what, the 28th? So, which actually should then happen on Monday. or might happen like, yeah, the dates here are a little bit screwed up. So today is what we said, 28th. And so 28th is still here, which would be 290. Might happen today, so like, but if it happens on Monday, or could be that we get close to it, then we gap open on Monday to cross or reach those 300 and finish this impulse pattern here, and then go down again. Now this would fulfill, in my opinion, that would fulfill all the requirements. Wave 3 is not the shortest. It's the pattern looks okay, so it's not that it looks like a weird pattern, and yeah. So I think this is where we stand, that we will have the pattern play out like this. Now we're gonna, actually I'm gonna do this on the other screen, so we keep this chart open here, as said, because I'll have to leave a little bit in a few. Where do we start here? We are currently on the hourly, and we're gonna look closer here on first on 15 minutes. Here, by the way, we could also already say like this could be our base channel. So 1, 2, this is wave 3, maybe 4, and this is wave 5, making up a very small 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or this is still wave 3 and we're still waiting for 4, 5 here. So to make up a smaller impulse that is like part of this entire thing up here, yeah. Anyway, so where do we see that best? So for most interesting scenario, we would have like the 5-minute time frame. I'm just going to zoom out so I can copy the labeling into TradingView. Yeah, so like this, I'll be able to copy it. So we have the low. Oh, that's the recent gap. And the low, okay, further. There from the zigzag down here, which means if we then take, and so that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, and which means 5 still in progress. So yeah, need to disable this. And then 5 still in progress. And now, how do we auto scale that again? Okay, logarithmic, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, so I think this looks okay-ish here in TradingView then. And if we zoom in here, yeah, so I'll have to go in 5 minutes, but as said, I already prepared the other chart, so at least, yeah. David says bond market is closing early, so our regular stock market stays open, which is nice, yeah, so. It's interesting, like let's check how the auto labeling would label this. We'll also say 1, 2, 3 still in progress, 4, and then technically wave 5. I mean, if 4 goes till down here, blah, blah, blah. Wave 5 would also still be 290 or something like that. So again, the range, the range of like the, if we again zoom out, I think on hourly we saw it, and use a Fibonacci extension, we see that the 138.2 to 161.8 extension is 290 to 320, so I actually expect that we would get there, and yeah, but as always, time will tell. Obviously, it's nice to see that the price is finally moving up, that we left one endless correction behind us, that we have momentum on our side, and then obviously in combination with recent rule changes and whatnot, that we might actually get to see shorts that have to cover and yeah, drive up the market more now, or the price more now. The question will then obviously be if those rule changes really cause the effect that we think they do or not. But anyway, like my long-term projection for GameStop is anyway bullish, so if it shoots up in a very fast way, great. If it goes up steadily like it's been doing, and it does so till the $1,250 mark or wherever we will have our bigger wave 3 end, also perfectly fine. still gonna be a big payoff. Yeah, and yeah, so that's what we're looking at. Interesting, we opened with a gap up and the gap closed already. So if we check the low here, although you can still see it, the low is 258.02 and the high here was 258.22. So there's a very small overlap here. The gap closed, which is something that we learned in the past, that while not all gaps close, most gaps do, or many gaps do close. Yeah, so this one is still open. That one might actually not close because I don't see any scenario where we will fall. Actually, if we're expecting to reach the area of 4, but it would be quite a leap to, yeah. Might be possible once we finish this wave 3 and then go into, so not this green one, but let's zoom out again. Yeah, technically this wave 2 is able to close that gap without violating any rules. I'm not saying that it's likely or that I expect it, but it would be possible. Yeah, so which would then just mean, yeah, it's another step along the way. So nothing to worry about here. And here, if we try to label this, it would again be 1, 2, and this would be wave 3, 4, and that would be wave 5, which means probably, yeah. Now it labeled it like this, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 would not work because then 3 would be the shortest. So I think here on the smallest scale, it would likely be something like 1, 2. We have a breakout here. That would be 4, and potentially, it might be that this already is this purple 0.5 or 0.3, which is the smaller 0.5. And if we check here, if we first of all draw our base channel, I mean, while the drop here doesn't touch it precisely, but it gets close enough in my opinion, considering how close we are looking. And then if we draw our destination channel, we also get close enough to touching this point here. So it could be that on a small scale, we are currently in this 4th wave here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, for which we would, in order to like figure out when it's done, would do something like this, and we basically would be waiting for a candle that then breaks out from here, which doesn't necessarily have to mean that the 4th wave is over. It just means that the yeah, I mean, it could be followed by sideways movement, so it just means that we likely will not see a lower point once we break out from here. Yeah, if that is indeed already 0.3 and this is wave 4. Hi, Emission Nocturnal, great to have you here. Are you streaming during the mother of all short squeezes? Yes, I mean, I have alerts activated, and if that, or once that happens, or if that happens and so on, I'm gonna jump online. I mean, there's a very, very slim chance that I'm missing it, considering that I'm working anyway at home in a home office, so, and I'm usually online. So, and considering the potential payoff, it really doesn't matter much what I'm doing at that moment. It's worth dropping whatever I'm doing then. So, but yeah. Anyway, with that, guys, I'll actually have to leave you for a few minutes, maybe worst case half an hour. As said, I'm gonna quickly switch here, and you're gonna actually see a loop for a second. That should be desktop left, yeah. And now you should see currently, for now, trading view. Now there should be no, it's actually interesting. I need to check power savings. Edit power to make sure. Turn off display. Never. Put the computer to sleep. Never. Okay. Yeah. Works about up. And yeah, as said. So yeah, I'll have to jump on a call, but I'll be back in worst case 30, maybe 45 minutes. I'm actually quickly gonna jump here. I'm sorry for that. And yeah, sorry for that. And I need to add a, do I have it just as text here? Oh yeah, can I? Oh, not copy filters. Can I move that? No. Oh, we do it the other way. We do this like this. I'm just gonna add a scene. Desktop left was the one, yeah? Yep, okay. With that I can move the disclaimer here. And I can add here AFK, short break. Yeah. Yeah, doesn't look nice, but almost AFK. If we put this in a new line, then I still have to move this up, unlock, whatever. And now when we do here, technically, and I need to check that on my end as well, technically it should update. Yeah, good morning to you as well, like should update here. And yeah, I thought about starting the stream later, but I figured I'm just gonna start it and then quickly jump on the call. Okay, it looks like everything's working, so fingers crossed that I set up everything all right, and I'll be back in, as said, like maybe 30 minutes, maybe sooner, and then we can look at more GameStop for the rest of the day. So see you guys soon. Here I am back again, so gonna have to move that a little higher up, and gonna be back on the charts in a second. Just have to, oh, we already have motive wave here, yeah, so great. So as I said, I had a call, now I'm back again. I'll just also adjust the text that we have here. Now, wonderful disclaimer. God, there's just so many details with all that streaming stuff. Let's put it down here again, lock it, and camera is still unlocked, the rest is locked, that's fine. And from me, so you guys now see my screen, which is nice, and I can now open the chat here. So, and yeah, so we had a drop, not super unexpected. Now, with a drop like this, this would indicate, it's tricky, that could be a flat correction where wave C is stronger, but it's more likely a very weird zigzag, so A, B, C with a very long wave. And interestingly enough, we hit the bottom of wave number 2 here, which would invalidate this, which would indicate that this brownish reddish labeling is, stupid overlays, is invalid. Yeah, I'm quickly gonna check the chat. I think I greeted most. High salty crackers, high pipe smoking blues, high salty, yeah, again salty crackers, yeah, and high J1124. And yeah, great to be back. So let's check how this makes sense. Now, obviously, this doesn't make a lot of sense unless this here is going to be an ending diagonal, but in this case, most of those waves would have to subdivide into zigzags, which obviously is also not the case here. Let's try to work our way down. So if we look on hourly, and we're gonna hide this here real quick, so visibility less than hourly, then this could still be wave 4 till here, but that technically would then need to be wave 5, and like in terms of the length, I'm obviously, and we don't hit the area here, I'm obviously not super happy with this being already wave 5, which means, although it's relatively big, if this here would be wave 1, 2, although the retracement here also wouldn't super, yeah, it's like also not super nice. If this is 1, 2, then here we have our breakout, definitely third wave move here. And the sideways movement here would indicate definitely wave 4. Now that could be A, B, C, which could be the end of this pattern, or more likely, let's check this retracement here. Yeah, it goes beyond 61.8. Now, this here doesn't look like a super complex corrective pattern, so technically this one here would need to be more complex. The best case, or one option would be, not this, one option would be if our wave 4 actually only, or went till here, then, yeah, although we almost retrace 100%, low to 37, low to 36, and this would be then 1, 2. I'm not super happy with that idea though. The other option is that our wave 4 actually ended here, in which case, then, yeah, that retracement also goes further, in which case, however, still this here could be our wave 1, 2, which would give us this base channel, which would still require this here to be then an ending diagonal, yeah, so I'm gonna just put that on the chart here and then work our way down and see if that makes sense. Elliott wave ending diagonal. So if this would be 1, 2, then we would technically, and then it would be 3, 4, and wave 5 would technically, in an ideal case, fall on the line of here, up. So, which would still be the finish of this entire thing here, so it still potentially could go to the 300 mark. Now let's work our way down and see if that checks out. So yeah, we hardly use 30 minutes, but get rid of the purple one that we had here. And probably move faster. Let's go to 5 minutes and see if we can check or confirm that. Up, zoom out, zoom out, zoom out, up. And wrong button. So for this here, and I need my cheat sheet for that, in an ending diagonal, pretty much all 5 waves are 6x, double 6x, triple 6x, any other correction, and so on. And what does the book say? So it's been a while. Diagonals always divide in 5 waves. We know that. Yeah, an ending diagonal would always be wave 5, which we would have here if that is our green wave 4. So from here till here, wave 4, and that would be wave 5. And wave 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of an ending diagonal always subdivide into 6x or variations of 6x. Yeah, so blah, blah, blah. Wave 2 never goes beyond the start of wave 1, so wave 2 doesn't go lower than here, obviously. Wave 3 always goes beyond the end of wave 1, so wave 3 is higher than wave 1. Wave 4 never moves beyond wave 2, so never lower. Wave 4 always ends within this price territory, so which is the case here. Going forward in time, I like collecting the ends of wave 2 and 4, converges towards the contracting variety of, or diverges from, in a line connecting. Yeah, so when you connect those points, you have like it looks like a funnel. This line here flat, and it's like the opposite of an expanding of a contracting triangle. So the lines, the distance gets greater. Yeah, so we have that. In the expanding variety, wave 3 is always longer than wave 1, wave 4 is always longer than wave 2, yeah, and we have that here. So wave 2, wave 4 is longer, wave 3 is longer than wave 1, and wave 5 is always longer than wave 3, so that would be the case if we have to touch that line. Wave 2 and 4 each usually retrace 66 to 81% of the preceding wave, so those are guidelines, not rules, yeah, so that's the important part here. And we don't have an 81 line, but we are in the 66, so we're 78 here exactly, which is in that area. And yeah, we have an 88 line here, 76 or 78, so we are also in that area, so that would also be the case. And no. Then wave 5 is unlikely to be a diagonal if wave 3 is not extended. And I think if we look from here, from wave 2 to wave 3, we have no problem to label more than just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we definitely would have an extended third wave here, in my opinion. Okay, and in the expanding variety, wave 5 usually ends slightly before reaching a line. So not exactly reaching the line, but slightly before. That's good to know. So those are all the things that we have on page 88 in the book, by the way, about ending diagonals. And if we then jump to ratio analysis, not sure if it covers diagonals as well. Retracements. Nope, can't find it on first glance, yeah. Anyway, and if we then earlier, charting, channeling, fifth wave equality, depth of corrective waves, rule of alternation. Yeah, where was it? Like here, where's the... (37) ending diagonals. Okay, that I can find likely. 37. kind of like makes sense. An ending diagonal occurs primarily in the fifth wave position at times when the preceding move has gone too far, too fast. Like, I mean, from our perspective, it's not too fast and not too far, but I would consider this is, that gap here would indicate like too far, too fast. Yeah, a very small percentage of yeah, that's in zigzags, doesn't matter. Contracting knob. Interesting. So most ending diagonals should be contracting, or yeah, contracting is the right word, or contracting, yeah. So not expanding. So like we might not be satisfied fully. But the rules still, or the guidelines still, so we still have all the rules that apply and the guidelines are all fulfilled so far. So, okay, so that seems to be right now. According to the book, pretty much everything would need to subdivide into zigzags or variations of zigzags, yeah. Now, A, B, yeah, like, probably wouldn't label it like this. I think this wave 2 here can be easily labeled as a zigzag. This part here, wave 3, also would need to be some kind of, yeah, like ABC or a variation of ABCs, like ABC, ABC, and then this here will be a little bit trickier to label as ABC. Although if this would be ABC, then we also know if that's a zigzag, this would be a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, followed by another zigzag, ABC, followed by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I think like we can make that case. It's going to be tricky to confirm considering how hard we look. This here is definitely a zigzag. So like, unless somebody else has a better idea, I actually would stick with the labeling here right now to say, okay, this here is going to be an ending diagonal, which means the price is going to, or supposed to move very close to this line or close to this line to finish this fifth wave before we will actually see the correction of this wave 2. And yeah, and still overall, again, like assuming this is our point 3, we would expect to, yeah, like we would expect to hit the top of that channel, while at the same time we would expect to only get close to this line here connecting point 1 and 2, which means we might not hit it here, but we might actually see it a little later. So still May 31st, which would be Monday, where we would then reach the $300 mark, and probably a little later if it plays out like this. And in this case, we would hit that line, but only get close to the other. Or if it were, I think 300 is like the crucial mark here, where it's like psychologically, like enough people will be willing to take their profits there, if it's smart or not. And so I would go with roughly like this. So yeah, Monday evening would be the $300 mark, and which means here now we actually are supposed to see another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 play out, since this is, oh no, we have to see another zigzag pattern or double zigzag or triple zigzag play out, since we are waiting for yeah, since we are trying to identify this as an ending diagonal, yeah, and that actually is going to be boring watching time again. Which means I can at least check my emails. It's a little bit annoying, so like while I like that I moved the setup back into my actual office, or our actual office, so that I can work, and yeah, if I do that here, it might influence the stream. Annoying. So, however, still now for the streaming, it sucks a little bit because I'm limited to my MacBook screen, which means I cannot do anything else on the screen, because otherwise the chart would not be shared. Now, enough standing for now. Let's Yep. God, I love that desk. Yeah, pretty much, pretty perfect, I guess. Yeah. And yeah, so that's the annoying part here for me. I'm not sure how long we'll stream today. I actually expected before we started labeling today, I actually thought that we might see some strong movement today, but yeah, might not be that we are blessed with that. Now I'm quickly gonna actually check the maximum pain that we have for today. Have you received your rack miner yet? Mine got pushed back to fall in the US. No, but wait, so maximum pain for today would be 200. And yeah, like we definitely are above maximum pain, which means the people with put options suffer the most possible, whereas people with call options have more in the money, which is good for us. Yeah. And yeah, so have you received your rack miner yet? No, I checked, like it really at some point, it starts to get annoying, to be honest. Like I still have the required patience, but we ordered ours in January, and back then it was, I'm not 100% certain, but back then it said like March or April. Let's go with April, yeah. And then along the way they had more difficulties and whatever, and the date got adjusted to early May. Then in early May it got adjusted to mid-May, and then it got adjusted to late May. However, with this week's email that they sent out regarding the shipping, they actually said that my batch, or the batch that contains my order, should be shipped this week, and if not, I need to reach out to support. Now it's Friday today, I haven't received a shipping notification yet, so I expect that I will have to reach out to support. And I'm really like, it's kind of, the annoying part with that is like when I first heard about Helium network, or Helium in general, then there were like 15,000 hotspots. Now there are 50,000, yeah. And with more hotspots, it means the earnings for each hotspot get lower, which is not a problem. It just means it takes longer before you make your money back, yeah. But yeah, like it's kind of, and if you look, my order number is around 7,000, and the current order numbers for rack hotspots, or rack hotspots, however it's pronounced, are like above 50,000 hotspots, yeah. So since January they sold 50,000 hotspots that other people haven't received yet. So when I get my hotspot, and then half a year later we'll see 100,000 installed hotspots, which obviously is great for the Helium project, but for each individual hotspot it means that the earnings will get lower, and which is kind of like sucks a little bit as well, yeah. But I'm still patient. I have enough other things that keep me occupied, thankfully, to not go crazy about it. That's one of the cases, you know, like on my main YouTube channel, pretty much every week I get some promotion offer, like, would you like to promote us, or would you create a paid video? And I turn all of them down, and like at least once or twice per month I get emails that offer me some free merchandise or some other free benefit. And so far the only thing I've accepted is a free account from ExpressVPN, which I partially also regret because I still haven't had the time to create a video about it. And yeah, where I'm like, okay, now I feel somehow obligated to create some content. I will have to disclose that I got the free account, and all of that just so I saved paying $50 or so per year myself, or maybe $100 per year myself. And with Helium, I also, after recording my first video, actually the Helium core team offered me to ship me a hotspot. And as usual, I declined it because I would have to disclose it. Okay, in this video, I'm going to show you this, and I just want to point out that I got the hotspot for free and so on. And I don't want to do that because it takes away credibility. But in this case, it actually makes a difference. I could have already I could have already have a hotspot for like 2 months now, if I would have accepted that, but I didn't expect that delay, because back then, again, I think it was late April or late March or early April as estimated delivery date. Well, it's more, it's more, I'm more curious, yeah. And makes me really curious to see how the network grows in New York City, where I plan to mine. I bought an antenna with the brackets and whatnot. We also so we bought one rack or Cal Connect or Cal Chip Connect or whatever hotspot, which should arrive as said like pretty much a couple weeks past. And we also ordered 2 Nebra hotspots because their outdoor hotspots withstand bigger temperature ranges. And we also ordered the stronger antennas for Nibra. And the antennas already arrived last week. They're somewhere, I don't know where Irina put them, they're somewhere in the apartment. But the hotspots are scheduled for July. So those two are not as important. We first want to have the cult chip to, first of all, to make more YouTube videos about it, to set it up. We're going to set it up close to the window in the apartment. While our apartment is not super high, but we're on the 7th floor, and yeah, like facing on the one side where we'll install it, actually a main road. So, and that, yeah, like there's not much obstruction and so on. So it's kind of like, it should cover enough. There are already 2 more hotspots in Kiev by now, or yeah, like there are two hotspots now in Kiev. Don't know if they're near us or not. But yeah, when we get the outdoor hotspots, we'll actually try to get one installed on the roof of our building. Not sure if that will work out, yeah, since we obviously don't own the building. And otherwise, we have acquaintances and relatives in other parts of Kiev where we would install them at their houses or apartments. So, and if they don't agree or if it doesn't work out for whatever reason, then we would just sell them, because I'm sure once we have them, there will still be high demand, which means even if we paid $400, we'll likely be able to sell it for $1,000 because somebody will not be willing to wait that long, yeah, or maybe even more. So. But in any case, we'll need them for the videos, and then we'll see if we are able to install them somewhere, or the additional ones, or if we, yeah, like either sell them or, yeah, we'll see. But it's like, yeah, I mean, it's not really a problem if you see that there are more hotspots in your neighborhood. It actually could be a good sign, because it means you might be able to connect to more hotspots and increase your earnings. It's anyway not something that you could avoid. If you would receive your hotspot today and you install it, and then your neighbor gets his tomorrow in a week and installs it, like it would just mean that you would have a couple of days where you earn a little bit more, assuming you already have other contacts in range, and then he installs his and your earnings will drop. So there's not much you can do about it, really. Yeah, like as long as you have 300 meters distance to the next hotspot, you're perfectly fine. And if it's below 300 meters, it just means that your hotspot and the other one in that range would compete, which means the earnings would be lower for both of you. But still, over time, you should earn more than enough H&T to recover the cost of the hotspot and actually start making profit. Helium is really one of the projects where it would have been nice to know about it or learn about it when it first started, because there are definitely enough people that just spent $1,000 or $2,000 maybe on hotspots and made $1 million in 2 years, before taxes, of course, and so on, just by plugging them in and setting them up. So definitely, but you know, like better late to the party than miss it completely. So, and then considering you buy the hotspot once, you set it up and it runs, and even if the network gets super overcrowded, well, then it might take you 5 years before you run into the point where you start making profit, but you still eventually end up making profit. You would need a lot of bad luck, in my opinion, for your miner to break for some reason before you get to that point. And yeah, like, it's kind of, you know, it's similar for me like with the GameStop situation, where obviously now that we're at 250 again, I'm also like, actually, why did I not buy more when it was down at 40 or 50? Like, so I didn't look at GameStop last year during the crash in March. I only started trading again in May, and even then it just never popped up on my radar. And now this year in January, when it got on my radar, I still bought below 40, but why did I not buy more, blah, blah, blah. And the same is like with the hotspots, like it's kind of like, it's like the same with everything, actually. If you think about Bitcoin, yeah, what if I would have mined Bitcoin 10 years ago, blah, 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 yeah. It's like, sometimes you're late to the party, sometimes you're the first to join the party, sometimes you miss the party entirely, and I think it's like there, it's more important to just look forward. And sometimes you join the party and it turns out that it was wasted time and or money, yeah, like, so also possible with many projects. I think it's just about keeping going, and maybe it comes then down to luck or consistency or so, to get it right. Like, I mean, with GameStop, I wouldn't call it luck, for example, for Deep Fucking Value and so on, who did his research and then decided to invest and so on. but it might be luck in quotes for many of the people that like me joined in January or so, where that were late to the party but still early enough to see and saw that there's still a lot of upside and didn't sell after the drop that happened with the buying restrictions. And yeah, I think in the end it's just about doing something. It's like you don't have to do everything right or perfect, but if you keep, and I mean, talking about like achieving financial freedom, yeah. So if you keep doing something, investing some of your money, consistently trying to learn a little bit, so you make smarter decisions with what you do with your money, and then take it from there. Like there are really so many opportunities to make money nowadays. Like even like the last couple of months or the whole entire last year, Bitcoin mining, if you had a decent computer, was also profitable. And one could have also, like, if you would have spent $10,000 last year to buy a mining computer with 2 overpriced high-end GPUs, I mean, maybe not in Germany or Europe with higher electricity costs, but definitely in countries with cheaper electricity costs, like those machines would have already brought you the $10,000 back in Bitcoin plus profit, and you would still own the computer that you could sell. Where if you like look at high-end GPUs right now, the high-end GeForce card right now, if you try to buy it, you pay like $3,000 and more just for the card, yeah, and then you still have to buy the rest of the computer or the mining rig, yeah, and so there are many opportunities. Yeah. For me personally, I'm really happy about my main YouTube channel and about the topics that I discovered there, or that people point out to me. Could you review this? Could you review that? I expect that most of those cryptocurrencies in the making will fail. Yeah, it's simply the way it works. It's just like with startups, with cryptocurrencies, not different. Many projects simply fail, but considering with the reach that I have thanks to the YouTube channel, like only one of those projects would need to reach a value of maybe $1 per coin. Doesn't matter if it's at launch or a year after launch or 10 years after launch, but considering the amount of coins that I earn or have or look at in some of those projects, like at $1 per coin, it would already be more than life-changing. So it's kind of like diversifying your bets. Yeah, like I respect everybody that had the balls to go all in on GameStop. Yeah, we have a Discord. Like there is a link somewhere. Yeah, like, but don't ask me where. Let's see if I can check on the other screen and share it with you. YouTube. There should be a link or not. Yep. That should be the right link. Now let's check. Do I also have this on this new channel? It's always so much to do. Oh, now there's my portfolio. Yeah, so I went in the about section or not? No, okay. Yeah. I'm still trying to figure out, because the Discord is obviously from my main YouTube channel, which is about a lot of like, I don't know, yesterday I recorded a video about how you can mine USDT for free online, so US dollar Tether, and basically earn, I don't know, $60 to $120 theoretically per year by pressing a button every few hours. So it's quite a different audience from then, or compared to what I try to attract in quotes on the trading YouTube channel. And there's still so much to do. There's still like so much work to like figure out how to structure everything, that it's easy to manage, but that also the places are separated. Because I think while currently we have this one Discord which serves for the main YouTube channel, but I think there are obviously people that are poorer, so have less money and have a different mindset, that they're looking for quick bucks, or that are like, lately there are here and there people that are like, oh, can someone please buy me this? I really want it. So that are begging for money instead of doing something to improve their life. Yeah, and obviously if you are already investing money, your mindset usually is already a little bit better in quotes. So you already are able to take responsibility. You already understand that it's up to you to improve your life and so on. And so I'm still trying to figure out how we will structure everything. Yeah. I've been getting more into crypto lately. Yeah, I dabbled in crypto in I think 2015. But back then, my mindset when it comes to money wasn't smart enough to realize I should just put 10% of my money aside or something like that. And so while I held some crypto and some Bitcoin especially and made decent profits there, I sold them way too early. But back then, at the point where I sold them, I actually needed the money, or I thought I needed the money to buy some garbage that I actually didn't really need, like bigger TVs and whatnot. Yeah. But yeah, like I'm also more and more again into crypto. But I try to avoid buying it. Now I got to the point where I decided to include crypto again on my trading profile on eToro. So to diversify my portfolio there. But other than that, like I just collect it. Yeah, like so, especially with my Crypto.com cashback card where I get 3% cashback for every or for almost every transaction in CRO, so in the Crypto.com coin. And yeah, and same for me. Like so, also one of the reasons to buy why I bought the hotspot, and I'm still waiting for it, is simply I think the project has a lot of potential long term, and therefore I consider the hotspot. While if we move, we might have to pay a one-time fee of $40 to assign it to a new location and so on. Yeah, but I think that the hotspot will just keep earning me crypto for years to come. And if helium increases in value, it's great. If helium doesn't increase in value, it's still eventually profitable. Yeah, and yeah, so. Unfortunately, eToro doesn't work in New York, yeah, or New Jersey, whatever you mean here. New York, New Jersey, yeah. Or Nigeria with a Y, hard to say. Yeah, but I think they are registered in the US, I guess, but yeah, like not sure. I like eToro for many reasons, like especially setting up MotiveWave with data sources and whatnot, yeah. You really have to admire like the product selection or asset selection that you have on eToro, ranging from stocks to cryptocurrencies to ETFs to commodities like oil, gold, and so on. Yeah, and an easy to use user interface. So it's really like it's kind of like yes, the spread might be a little bit higher and so on, and there are definitely some other potential downsides to it, but overall, it's just hassle-free. Yeah, like it gets a little bit more complicated if you use something else for charting, and then you have to kind of like try to keep track of your eToro positions while at the same time, ideally keep your charts in your charting software updated. NY, so Nigeria with a Y, settled on that, is tougher with crypto. Yeah, didn't know that. Yeah, but yeah, like still eToro, I think it's like, I'm sure it might not be the best broker out there. It really depends on your personal situation. But for me personally, I actually like it a lot. So yeah, had my issues with them in terms of like technical issues that you maybe wouldn't encounter with a bigger broker or with a more professional one. But if I consider the money that I'm now spending every month just for MotiveWave plus for the data feed, so that we have this data and have a software that's built to label Elliott waves, or among other things has that included. Yeah, like they are using eToro, it's just so much easier. I'm actually, yeah, now you say New York, yeah. Already figured you out, like Nigeria, you're among, or maybe not you, but I'm sure one of your neighbors is among those people that send out emails like saying, I'm a Nigerian prince and I have this money that I want to give you. You just have to wire me the $5,000 lawyer fees, yeah? I wanted to use Binance, but they're also regulated different, US and rest of the world, yeah? Personally, like, I mean, I like Binance, I have an account with them, but personally the reason why I have everything that's possible at Crypto.com is simply their cashback card. Yeah, like the fact that, for example, when we pay, I'm not sure if MotiveWave I think is one of the things where I don't get the cashback. Yeah, but yeah, like when we take Uber rides or buy groceries or so, and every time I look into the crypto app and I see 3% cashback, and that just keeps piling up. I have been had. So you wired the lawyer fee to a Nigerian lawyer. Just curious. I try not to judge, by the way. Like it baffles me how it's possible, to be honest. But I've also seen a story from a retired couple in Germany who both were both educated and so on, yeah, and they fell for some kind of scam where they got notified that they won the lottery in Spain, and the fact that they'd never played the lottery in Spain didn't kind of serve as a warning sign. So they wired the first couple thousand lawyer fees because they already saw the millions that they will receive, and in the end they ended up taking a loan on their house and making like more than 200,000 in debt just to pay more lawyer fees because they still believe they will get the millions, yeah, which kind of like, yeah, I think, I don't know, like, yeah, like it's hard for me to imagine, like, I'm not one of those people that runs around constantly and say, oh, that's too good to be true, and that calls everything fake. So, but yeah, I don't know, like, it's hard for me to imagine what kind of email I would have to receive to be willing to part from even $100 in fees I have to pay to receive something that I apparently won or could get or whatever, yeah. But I'm sure there are situations, and I mean, and I've also made like, I also think some things are destined to happen, yeah. Like, to provide my favorite example, when I was a teenager, my mother had her own small bar and used to work during the night till 5, 6 in the morning, and my stepdad used on the weekend sometimes to go and play cards, and he would also come back between 4 and 6 in the morning. And there was one Friday evening, I was a teenager, me and my friends didn't have a lot of money and so on, so somehow I got the ingenious idea to invite them all to throw a party at our house, yeah. Although I knew that my parents will come home during the night, it was not they are gone for the weekend or so, and it obviously is a stupid idea, and I'm by far not dumb enough to make that decision because I already knew that I will suffer for if I would do something like that. But somehow at the moment it still seemed like the right thing to do, until at 5 in the morning we were still celebrating and my parents came home, yeah. Not so great back then at that moment, but still, yeah. Yeah, hi Predator 8. Yeah, I received the email and I already wrote it, yeah. So I think it's cool. A cool thing that eToro actually listened to the demand of the user base and try to provide a way, and now actually found a solution to allow their users to vote, which, yeah, I think it's a great thing. So, but I mean, it still depends how many shareholders will not be able to vote at all for whatever reason, so that in the end we are able to see, or GameStop is able to see how many votes come in that shouldn't exist at all, yeah. But yeah, like in terms of, in general, I think it's obviously good, especially because it means for other shares or for other stocks in the future, users on eToro will hopefully also be able to vote, which just makes eToro even a more professional platform. And for the GameStop situation, it's good because whatever votes eToro then forwards for the user, it just is more data that arrives at GameStop that makes it clearer if or how much or how many shares there are going around that just exist because of short selling, yeah. And yeah, God, I hate it when the market is so slow. Like literally, I'm online, it starts to do like this, I have to go on a call, there is movement, I come back from that call and we look at this. Yeah, it's like super, super boring. And I really regret that I moved my setup already, but it really was needed to get work done to move it out of the studio. I'm thinking if I should buy 2 more screens and get one of those desk mounts where the screens are then floating and have them here permanently. But yeah, it's just... I mentioned, like, we didn't stream on Monday, yeah, because our new employee, our first developer / second employee started working and so on, and it's been an interesting week. I mean, he's still working on some minor tasks and things that I just haven't had the time so far. but it just feels so great to know that somebody, while I may be sitting here and streaming, for example, or while I may do something else, that somebody is there and takes care of minor things. He might not do them as fast as I would do them because I know how to do them and so on, but it just feels so nice to know that there is progress even though I'm busy with other things. And on Monday, so next Monday, we likely also will not stream unless we see a huge spike, which I actually expect based on our labeling, yeah? Or I mean, we might already today see the movement upwards here, but to actually get there, I think that will be on Monday. But on Monday, we might also not have a stream, or I might stream and just be muted most of the time or much of the time, and yeah, talk with our new content and community manager. I'm also looking forward. That honestly is going to be like a tricky hire, because there it's going to be challenging to figure out within a few weeks if that person is definitely suitable and can get the job done, and to then get more structure into organizing streams, managing the Discord community, yeah, like writing content. So for eToro, for posts on the YouTube channel, for our blogs and so on. So to just have a little bit more dynamic and provide more feedback. So, and not necessarily ghostwriting in terms of like he has to come up with things and do things, but more in the way of like, I'm having a lot of ideas and I have a lot of things that I would like to share, but taking the time to sit down and then write a proper post and so on, it's just, yeah, I don't want to put that on my list as well. So it would be more in the area of like, yeah, jumping on a quick call with him and telling him, okay, I would like to have a post about this, and just providing him with some key points, and then have him write a post following certain criteria, so like certain copywriting standards, and then depending on the platform, considering certain character limits and so on. And then he writes the post, I proofread it or double check it, and then it gets published, yeah. Ah, yeah, true, yeah. David already mentioned that Monday the market is closed. Well, then it's great, see? And Memorial Day, holiday in the US, yeah. Yeah, well then, no stream on Monday, so not a problem. Cool, cool, cool. But yeah, it feels cool too. Like really, I have to say, like for my wife and me, for both, like for the last 2 years, we have been like, especially 2019 was challenging, where we lived from our savings and tried different things, and where we were able to pay all our bills and so on. And yeah, like we made some sacrifice in terms of no decent vacation and so on. But we still, so it was a challenging year, but we still did okay, yeah. And then last year, the first half of last year was similar, but there we already had our plan together, what we want to do. And now basically a year later, since the point where we finally figured out what we want to do, like it's just so nice to see that everything is growing. Like our software platform grows consistently. We went from having 1 employee in March to now 3 employees next Monday. And yeah, like just everything is moving forward, slow but steady. And it's just so nice, especially with considering the many things that we're doing. So from running multiple YouTube channels, our software business, a Facebook group, and a Discord server and so on, to finally have the manpower, or slowly get to the manpower, to be able to manage all of that more professionally, not just for our sake, but also for the users' sake, so that they have more information, are more in the loop, get more updates, and are kind of like, so to turn our communities more valuable, yeah. Still have to figure out how I'm going to handle this YouTube channel, as mentioned. Still considering if I should create some kind of video course or so about Elliott wave theory. Basically something that maybe goes through the book. So whatever chapter there is in the book, or not even chapters, but smaller parts. So one video about each of that, and then turn that thing into kind of like a free course. So with the overall goal obviously being to educate people, of course, but from my perspective, the overall goal being to get people to either download the free book, for which I get nothing, or order a paid copy, for which I get a commission from Elliott Wave International, and or to get them to sign up for eToro, or yeah, like, and there maybe copy my portfolio. So to first of all get affiliate commissions from eToro, and second of all then increase or reach the point as popular investor where I actually get paid there as well. So still much work to do. but we'll have to, yeah, like still will take time. And yeah, still moving slow here. I mean, we could consider, so like we're gonna check here, and then we have here our alternate labeling. Just gonna say we could actually take the time and can I say open? Because here it's still so, okay, close that. And there it's jumped back to smart, so we're just gonna have to minimize. That's like the one issue, like it still somehow jumps back to the wrong data source. And now if we do that, and now I could say here and say new analysis and say alternate labeling based on the primary analysis, okay. Now that all stays the same, and daily also stays the same, so hourly. And if we just get rid of a few things here, and again it jumps back to smart. Like for $160 per month, there are just some really annoying. Why is this still smart? It should be. It should not be. Gonna nap? I thought Daria is coming.
Yeah, 7.
Okay. I see. So, okay, now we have that chart here again. And now let's try this. If I open, at the moment I click here, it switches to the stupid, probably gonna regret that, yeah, so delete. And I cannot delete that one, great, open. But that's the wrong one. And if we go here and click on GME, it jumps back to the right one. And then if I jump on alternate labeling, it stays on the right one. So far, so good. If we then jump to hourly, it also stays on the right one. Yeah, it's like, and on hourly, we said we can also delete this. And okay, and then there this trend line can also be removed. And now the question is, what alternative do we have here? I think that this here is quite obvious as a 1, 2. Also, if we look 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 with an extended fifth wave potentially, and then the wave 2 retraces in the area of wave 3 and 4 here, or wave 4, and is like roughly 38.2. So I think even the auto labeling would agree with that. Yep. And as a result, however, then our base channel, yeah, so we still would have the breakout here, which would indicate wave 3. However, our auto labeling would by default put wave 3 in the area of, do we have something here? Yeah, like above 200%. So it would not consider this as a finished wave 3, which means here it should be 1, 2 something, 3, 4, 5, which means 3, 4. But this should then already be wave 5 or not. So if we try to label this, it gets this idea and would consider, yeah, but that doesn't make sense. That so far is consistent with what we have here. Yeah? So if we switch on hourly, we also have 1, 2, although I said likely 3 might be this one. Or the alternative, if 3 is that one, if point 3 would be this point here, our point 4 technically could touch down on the base channel or could already be finished here, and or could still go further down. We could technically see the gap here closing. If that would be 3, then technically this could turn into some kind of ABC pattern that goes down here, and then potentially would actually go down further and close that gap already. And yeah, that would make up, so up. That would make up this wave 2 or wave 1. and give us a new base channel then up. And if this were the case, then if we jump 30 minutes, it's not going to change much. And 15 minutes, and adjust the waypoints. Then this here would definitely need to be an impulse wave. And it actually could be interesting. So that would be 1. That definitely is wave 3, and it's definitely an extended third wave since it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And so basically here we have this extension. So of the red wave 3 would be extended here, and then wave 4 zigzag, or yeah, likely I think it's more likely that it's some kind of flat correction maybe, or double zigzag or something like that, so that we actually look at this. Or technically this could be 0.3, because then if this is 0.3, well, we don't hit the top, it kind of like fits better. If this would be 0.3, then here would need to be another impulse in between. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, not super nice, so more likely that this here is 0.3. And that actually, wrong. That actually, yeah, like we hit that channel and then bounce from that channel, so that actually would check out better. So in terms of labeling, we would have our base channel, we have our breakout, although we don't go back to the base channel, and we also don't go to the double range or the duplicate range of the base channel. So the other channeling technique for wave 4 is not super great. However, if we were to try, so basically here we would have our breakout, which would indicate that our 4th wave could technically already be over, but the sideways movement here continues. So, and if this would be wave 4, then it would actually make the channel steeper. Yeah, so that's not it. So like I think that makes more sense, because then this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 would also check out on a very small scale. So yeah, I mean, it labels this even smaller here, but I think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I mean, it wouldn't look perfect, to be honest, but I think this here would make more sense. And then we can get rid of this one here. So in this blue 1, 2, we would have our, oops, too far. There we have some overlaps somehow. Yeah, so like this, or in this green now. So green 1, 2, 3, 4. And again, wave 4 here would now be in progress. Now, if wave 4 would be a zigzag, we could actually expect, for example, to go from wherever we are right now down to 220, which would then likely indicate that we hit the medium of this base channel, which would also almost, yeah, we don't have the view, where is it, cursor data, there. So, which would then also 213, 212, yeah, like might not close the gap perfectly, but would close at least till here, or not even till here. There it's 215. And then from here, so yeah, we can get rid of that. But I think that would check out enough. And from the looks of it, it would also look okay so far. Question is, where would our wave 4 be if it just touches that base channel? I mean, that would be too short in my opinion for wave 4 in this case. So question would be, are we just moving more sideways here for our wave 4? Or are we going to go down? Possibly short sellers would try to push the price down towards end of market today. So to maybe minimize, or people that hold put options, to maybe minimize the damage in quotes, and so might be an option that we see later today, a drop for this fourth wave, and then on Monday we would see our wave 5 going up again, and again in my opinion touching $300, and then we will see another bounce. And or yeah, I think this is just very unlikely, although I mean it would then be a shorter correction compared to this here, but yeah, not sure if that's the case. So I think either we move sideways, I mean according to this labeling, either we move sideways and we touch this channel here around 240 where we already are, so we keep moving sideways until we touch it, a little bit up, a little bit down and so on, or we will see a drop that will take us on this channel here roughly, plus minus a little bit of course, and to finish this wave 4. And that would make more sense because then we wouldn't have an expanding ending diagonal, yeah, which is apparently not such a common thing. So I think that labeling might have more merit compared to what we're looking at here, where we're actually 3, 4, 5, and so but on the other hand, if you look at this, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 here would be easier than the 4 that we had, the wave 2 that we had here. Yeah, but I don't know, like especially with this, yeah. I think our alternative labeling here just might make more sense. Now if we zoom in here, again here we would be waiting for an ending diagonal to play out as a B, C, something zigzag pattern. Doesn't look like it. For that we might have, or double zigzag, triple zigzag, or any variation of those things. Might need more upside pressure here. However, when we look here on the 5-minute time frame and then we label this as a corrective pattern, then we already get A, B, C, and the predicted value would be 216, which is already very close to the 213 or whatever, 212 that we have here. So we might as well now get to see a steep drop. If we would have a perfect zigzag in price and time, then we might now see a big drop that takes us to, yeah, like somewhere here. But if we are here, then we definitely, in my opinion, will close the gap as well. So, and if we again try to label this here, it just works out so much nicer this way. So that definitely 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Wave 5 here is a little bit shorter than it could be, but we definitely have an extended third wave here, so which would explain a shorter fifth wave. So, and the part before also checks out. So I think that labeling here makes right now most sense. So especially considering, I mean, it's the 5-minute time frame. It's not super, how to say, relevant or crucial, but especially considering that we had another gap down here, a very small one, but still, and so making it more likely that we might see strong downward pressure right now that takes us back to 200, yeah, like 218, and if we're there, we might as well cover the other $5 or so to close the gap, and yeah, and then we go up from there, and we'll go, yeah, like beyond. In my opinion, we will then go to the $300 mark. Now, if we go down here rapidly, then there's the option that we recover a little bit and then in a zigzag shape, and then this turns into a double or triple free corrective pattern or a double zigzag or whatever. So we would have more sideways movement follow first, or it's just going to be the A, B, C zigzag, and after that we have the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 that takes us away. We can also roughly see if we would try 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So wave A of a zigzag is an impulse or a leading diagonal. A, B, C, another zigzag, and then here we would have, I mean, we would need to check, but it could be already 1, 2, and this would be then wave 3. in progress of that impulse or ending diagonal that takes us down there, and yeah, that will likely take us down there. So I think we have downside right now to come, like, and potentially, well, if it's perfect, would only go to, we said 216 or 18 or something like that. But if we go down there, I would expect it to close the gap. So I would expect that we might see 210. Oh, sorry for that. And then again from there, either we go up or it turns into, or this wave 4 turns into a double or triple free corrective pattern, which means we go up and then in some corrective pattern move sideways before we actually go up in the 5th wave. So. But definitely that pattern checks out the most right now, so remains to be seen. And I'm just gonna check some tickets, or one ticket. What's the ticket ID? Yeah, that's tricky. Dum, dum, dum. Hi Christian, great stuff as always. Would you mind taking a look at AMC? Yeah, we can take a look, but I mean, AMC pre-market was quite high, and the last labeling we did would indicate that AMC is in a 3rd wave move right now, and anyway should have gone beyond the previous bigger wave 1. And yeah, if you give me a second, we'll check it out. Yeah, as said, like, I mean, if we look here now, I really think that the labeling that we have here for GameStop is the one that is the most accurate and will play out like this. So we're gonna see the gap closing, and then from there we'll go up. Once the GameStop thing is over, I might pick just one stock I really like or so, and then day trade based on that. I mean, we're not always right, we already learned that lesson, but I think when we are right, we usually would profit big, and the times when we are wrong, it would just mean that here and there we move some upwards movement, or that we could just hold if we get in at the wrong time. But yeah, anyway, so, oops, wrong button. So if we push that magic button and then go to AMC, and there we need our primary analysis. Yeah. So AMC in my labeling currently looks like this. So we would have this 0, 1, 2. And although we have an alternative labeling for that as well, but then we would have 1, 2, and which means this breakout here would indicate a 3rd wave move. So I still expect to have more upside. Obviously, it was to be expected today that the gap will close. Technically, this could already be wave 3, and that is wave 4 building, and then we will see wave 5. The bigger point, however, with AMC would be that we already passed 1, yeah. So that it was expected to go past 20. So like, I think somewhere here we made the last labeling and came up with that, yeah. And how high can it go from here? It's an interesting question. If this labeling would be correct, it doesn't really matter that much, to be honest, because, yeah, sorry with that stupid zoom. Someday I'm gonna figure out how that works. So if this would already be wave 3, not super important, because then we would still expect wave 4, which should be a simple zigzag correction, so because this looks a little bit more complex in terms of length and so on, and then a fifth wave, and the fifth wave should then obviously in most cases go beyond the point of wave 3. So we had a high here at 36, we are currently at 27. So if this labeling is correct, well, there might still be more downside, but then eventually as fifth wave, we would expect it to go again to 36 and higher, or 36.72. So yeah, potentially right now, that's what? That's like 30% upside or so from the current price, which I think is okay. Although the risk-reward ratio right now, if you would trade based on this right now, then you could actually, the stop loss would be at 14.54 and the take profit would need to be calculated. But let's assume this was already a third wave, then we don't know where our fourth wave is, so it's going to be challenging based on that. But we could then, I would then personally say maybe 62. So risk would be $10 and upside would be 100%. So risk would be less than 50%, upside 100%. So, but that's only one labeling. So where this could be wave 3 already, although I mean, it's a strong upwards move, yeah, but I'm not sure if it's sufficient to justify and say this is wave 3. Likely, if we look closer, this here would be our 1-2 of a smaller degree, which means again, wave 3 move, where likely this is actually also the wave 3 move. So it might just be that we have this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this 3 is not yet finished, so there's still a little bit upside. And again, we already saw 35 here, so there might still a bit upside beyond 35 to finish this third wave, followed then by a drop that supposedly or ideally would take us only down to whatever 27 or maybe 30 depending on when it happens, and then followed by a wave 5, which yeah, like then depending on that would likely maybe go till, yeah, like you can already see like we're talking about more than 100% gain, followed then by this fourth wave here, which then should be a more complex corrective pattern, so would be dragged out longer, but could not go below 20. So, but still would be a significant drop again, and then followed by wave 5. So if this labeling is correct, and there is no remove guide, and there is no, I don't know, like, yeah, like weird thing that happens that turns it invalid, then there would still be a lot of upside. So yeah. Personally, I'm not going to buy because I don't believe in AMC, so it's not a stock I want to be invested in. And yeah, like we already talked about my idea about like that they don't really have a business case or a solid business case. While I already, yeah, anyway, we already talked about that. So, but yeah, that would be one labeling. And I think we have an alternate labeling, or we don't. No, we don't have an alternate labeling. Maybe on a reasonable time frame. No. Hourly. I think, anyway, I think the alternate labeling, so just looking back here real quick, so here we have 1, 2. I think that's actually the most valid labeling that we have. So we retrace almost 61.8%. And then we have wave, so that would be our wave 2. That definitely is our third wave, so but still in progress because we don't have a noticeable breakout from if this is one, like a reasonable big enough breakout. If this would be like that or if it's like this, so there's still like, yeah, like I think we don't have an alternative labeling here right now. So I think that's the most accurate labeling that we have on the small scale. And then the question would be if we look closer, so maybe 15 minutes, then, and try to make sense of this. So it would label this likely as a leading diagonal, 1, 2, although then there, that point here might be lower, so that might be 1, 2. It might not be able to actually label it at all, so I know it does, but in a very weird way. So yeah, it's not something I'm super happy with. So I would rather say that this here, that might actually be even different. So here we retrace roughly 38.2. So it might actually be that our wave 2 here is a very long corrective pattern that maybe ends here roughly. So not 100% sure about that. It doesn't change a lot. It just means that here our starting point would be different. And in this case, obviously, then this would be our point 3 in progress or point 3 finished. So, and if we then put our base channel here, so like this, and that would be this point 3 here, and somehow this point here doesn't add up nicely. And 3, 4, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, so in blue that would be 1, 2, 3. Now technically we would expect a drop after a third wave to, yeah, there we should have another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hidden in there, as we can see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's labeled now with an extended fifth wave, but it could also be that it's an extended third with a regular fifth wave. So for that we would need to sub-label or to label that as well, for which we would have to look closer, blah, blah, blah. And but we're going to get rid of that labeling. So which means from here we would expect our drop, which likely will not reach this channel, but might reach the duplication of that channel, which it doesn't have to, but it's like the way simply how it works according to Kennedy channeling technique. So you might go to around 25 or so. Again, we would need to look closer, but this already, yeah, like A, B, C, or 1, 2, 3, 4, and that could be 5 in progress or 5 finished here. Now we would see another A, B, C, and then we see another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's likely probably like, yeah, so, and then obviously in a perfect zigzag, depending on where B is or so, we would go to 20. So that would be in a perfect zigzag, how it might play out. And yeah, but we'll have to see. I think that this actually is the labeling. So we finished this third wave. Now we're in wave 4 in blue, which might take also longer and might not just be a simple zigzag, might not go to 20, but potentially could go as low. I mean, there, chapter 4 of the book is the guide. There are some rules about, or guidelines or tips how it often retraces when you have a third wave extension or a fifth wave extension. So yeah, potentially it cannot go down here. So potentially, if we would have 1, 2, and this would be, or let's auto label it again and see how the, so if this would be 3, 4, then potentially we could go as low as, what's that, $18? Yeah, $18. But if it's a extended third wave, then the correction would basically expect to be 25, so it would almost be over. But yeah, like, might also be that this is, yeah, like harder to say. Personally, I would expect that we are in the beginning of a zigzag, and it will, as said before, that this is the first part. We will have a wave B that goes a little bit upwards in a zigzag shape, A, B, C, and then from there we will go down roughly the same distance, which brings us, as said, like depending on how or where our point B is, would bring us to 25 or something like that, or in that area. Oh, sorry, 20. Yeah, like maybe a little lower, like 1950. We see it seems like there has been, yeah, like, I don't know, like stagnation or consolidation. So, but like the bigger point is now people could say like, I'm gonna wait for it to fall to 20, because that's obviously another 20% or so drawdown. But on the other hand, like, it doesn't have to fall that far. So the bigger question is if our labeling here is correct, And then we can hide the blue labels here on this time frame, less than daily. So if our labeling here is correct, we would either, let's check that again. Oh, we would still have the blue wave 5 also to come, followed by another drop, and then followed by this wave 5, followed by another drop, followed by the other wave 5. And so while the overall thing in terms of Elliott wave theory, we might still be looking at months for this to play out, it actually, yeah, like it actually should pay off nicely. But again, it's just my opinion based on Elliott wave theory, and I'm not buying it because I prefer to try to find stocks that we can label since the IPO, or at least where we can label a longer history and not just the last couple of months. And I prefer to pick stocks where I also personally believe that their business case makes sense. And yeah, I just considering Netflix, Apple TV, and Amazon Video or Prime Video and so on, I just don't see the case for cinemas anymore to justify such an increase, yeah. And so, yeah, but yeah, like Elliott wave theory with this labeling would indicate that there's still some upside. Now, let's quickly check since we're looking at other things. So how is Tesla doing? My favorite stock here, it's going down again, what like supposed. Wave 4 here, assuming this is wave 4, actually went further than expected. So it touched the medium of the base channel and now it's nearing the top of the base channel, which is still okay with Canadian channeling technique. Now, obviously, likely this point 3 here is actually here, so not back there. And then as a result, if this would already be the end of wave 4, we would actually be expecting, yeah, like, I still expect it to hit the 468, but yeah, it might take longer to get there. So I'm struggling to decompose wave 2. Orange SC seems making a higher low. I think you're still talking about AMC. And our labeling is gone. God, sometimes it's really like, yeah, no. Why does it jump to smart all the time? Like, screw you, like, seriously. Yeah, so I'm struggling to, I don't have orange. Or maybe when I look closer, or maybe I removed it, yeah. Like, sorry, it's like, you mean here? No, wave 2, okay, wave 2 orange. Ah, here, you're struggling to decompose. Yeah, but, stupid zoom, so you mean this part here is wave 2, yeah? But you would also have, for example, you could consider, this obviously, if this is one corrective pattern, would be a double free corrective, for example, like this could be some kind of ABC zigzag followed by some ABC zigzag followed by some by a flat, by a triangle, and so on. So I mean, that's the challenging part, like the corrective patterns, obviously. But if we were to say Elliott wave combination, yeah, then this here could be a combination like this. But it could also be a triple corrective pattern. So in which case this might be point Y, then that's X with a zigzag up, or X could be like this, a sharp zigzag up. And then we have this second point maybe here, which could be another A, B, C. And then we have another, we need another zigzag that takes us back up, which would then be, could be this one here, but could be, yeah, like could be this one here, and then wave Z could actually, that could actually be some other corrective pattern, like a flat correction, like A, B, C, yeah. So where you still, or it could still be some kind of yeah, like, it's like the challenging part. So if you try to decompose this, could also be that at point 2 is like here earlier, then this would already be 0.12, but I don't like that idea because the retracement from here to up here and then down here is almost 100%, whereas the retracement here fits nicely into the pattern. So I think one can decompose this here as 1, 2 with a long wave 2. Then here it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 1, 2, 3, which means there's wave 4, and then you would have a fifth wave or an extended fifth wave, depending on how you count this. So this definitely is a wave 1 or is an impulse up here. So like if you just go from the top, like it makes sense that this here is one wave. Technically this wave 2 could also be unfinished and could draw out till somewhere here, but the moment we go higher than this point, it's clear that we left the correction behind us. So while this green point 2 could be wrong and could be somewhere else as well, but then you would need to be able to make sense of the rest of this here as part of this wave 2, I think it's more likely that this is the correction that happens here for wave 1, 2. Because we can easily label this up here as an impulse, maybe with an extended fifth wave. And then the question is, we might not be able to easily label that. However, the way we can label this here fits again nicely into the bill. And so I'm not super worried about being able to label that, like as long as the rest fits into the bill. Yeah. So because we already know we suffered weeks trying to label the corrective pattern in GameStop and we got it wrong so often. And you could just zoom out and look at it from the bigger perspective if things make sense. Like in terms of this, we have 1, 2, we have, in this wave 1, we have 1, 2 or 1, 2, likely 1, 2, yeah, like probably 3, 4, 5, or maybe 3 still up here, 4, 5 with a truncated fifth wave. So I think that check. The other option was actually, that's the interesting other option. The other option was that it's more like GameStop, which would actually mean point 1 would be here, because we would have a 1, 2, 3, 4 extended truncated fifth wave. So that would be the green point 1. And then we would have our retracement. However, we don't have a strong enough retracement here to reach the 38.2 or 61.8 to make this 1, 2, which in my opinion is like, yeah, a sign against it. But even if this would be the point 1 in green, and then that still would be wave 2, yeah. So that wouldn't change, which means that still either here or here the third wave would start, so the green third wave. And so it doesn't make a huge difference in my opinion. It might be then that we would be able to apply, if this would be 1, 2, then we could apply Kennedy channeling technique also to the greenish labeling, yeah, because we would have our base channel that goes from here and here, and which would indicate that there's more upside potential, which we're anyway waiting for with those bluish patterns. So I think even if you cannot subdivide this, and even if instead of 1, 2, 3, it would be 1, 2, 3, not much changes, because you still would have your starting point either here or here to label this bluish pattern. If you pick it here, you might be able to say this is already wave 5 in blue. But it just, the difference is then more long-term or, yeah, like short-term, because the difference is, do we have one more dip and go up and then a dip and go up, or do we have a dip and go up and already are here, followed by dip where we then go up even further? Yeah, so even if you cannot decompose this here, it's still the way I see it, it still points towards the same result. Yeah, so, and I'm sure with enough practice, or if we zoom out far enough, if we don't look at it, either if we zoom out enough or if we zoom in enough. Yeah, so either if you look at it with a little bit more distance, the pattern here might make more sense. Yeah. A, B, C, or A, B, C followed by another A, B, C followed by however we can label this. So maybe a double zigzag pattern of some kind or so. Like, so I'm sure if you try hard enough, you will be able to label this. But I would, if I'm able to label this as an impulse and with the starting point here, it fits the bill better, then I would expect that this is the end of the corrective wave that happened here. Yeah, so, and since I'm able to label this as an impulse, it just makes sense that this is 1, 2, and yeah. The only other option would be that again, the green wave 1 is here and the green wave 2 is here, and then this would actually be not wave 3, but it would be wave 1 of orange impulse upwards, yeah, which just would mean that there is like one, instead of having wave 4 happening as a correction, we actually would only see wave 2, which means there would be one more correction plus one more wave up for us to see, which means more upside than expected. So yeah, I don't technically see an issue if you're not able to decompose that one wave or that one corrective wave, because as said, like there might be way more upside, yeah. And yeah, like here we're still going down, so that still would be, yeah, I mean 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so that's still finishing up wave A of that ABC zigzag that we likely see building here. And yeah, but yeah, let's take a look at GameStop again and quickly check. So we're down 8% today. So seems like we were wrong. Surprise. And that was the labeling with the ending diagonal, which turned out to be wrong because now we get lower here, yeah. And however, our alternate labeling should still be more than valid because it points towards downwards movement to get down here, yeah. So looks like the alternate labeling is the one that checks out now. Yeah, and with that, we're gonna quickly check Bitcoin and see where that is going. Hide the volume information. I wish I figured out how to hide that by default, and make the chart bigger and go to go to our preferred labeling here. And zoom in. There it's also like, so while it says like, or it looks like this ABC correction here is done, yeah, and I think we went further than expected, yeah, by a fair margin. But if we then look here, that doesn't look like the start of the next 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And so likely if we were to say ABC, so that could be then a zigzag up or a reactionary wave, and then followed by another corrective pattern of some kind, ABC, yeah, like, so there might be, technically there could still be downsides to Bitcoin, but honestly, considering that we already touched the area of wave 2 here, got close to it, I don't think that we will go further down, but we might see more sideways movement to finish out this wave 4, so I think this wave 4 might not be finished yet, while this wave 5 definitely is. And this wave C, or in my opinion is, still not definitely. I mean, if this would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it kind of like checks out. But this wave 4 might turn out to be a double free or triple free corrective pattern. And yeah, with still more sideways movement before we actually proceed with wave 5, which obviously should take us above 65,000. And yeah, like, yeah, so. But time will tell, and yeah, and so those are the ones we've been watching the closest. And yeah, let's go back to watch list and take another look at GameStop and derp. So again, we said alternate labeling is more accurate, and again it jumps to. I don't know what's wrong with the dumb software. Like literally, like it's $160 per month and or $150, $160 per month, and it's just those minor things. Like it's so powerful. But then there are those minor things that just drive me crazy, yeah. Yeah, so downwards here, we could technically, for example, here we would already have 1 and then 38.2 retracement, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which is obviously too short. But that could also only be just wave 1 of that. So if this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, although, and then especially because this goes higher here, so it would be a, yeah, it has to be a leading diagonal, which would then make it wave 1, which means from here we would expect now to also go up to 237, so to have a 38.2 roughly retracement again, and then go down again to build the wave. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5 reach the point down there. So I think, yeah, I think that's what we're gonna see play out here. And yeah, which means for the rest of the day, we are likely just going to watch GameStop to go down further. It could happen in fast movements, in which case we would see a steeper drop, but we still would need to roughly be able to dissect the patterns. Yeah, there's not going to be much fun looking on the minute time frame. So it might happen faster, and we might already start seeing the recovery from up here, from down here. But it's also possible that that drags out till the rest of the day pretty much. Yeah, so that today we would close around 220 or maybe 210 if the gap gets too close, and which would still be above the max pain for put options. So yeah, and then from there we would have our fifth wave here up starting on Monday potentially. So would be, yeah, like I think there's not going to be much interesting that we're going to see here. Like, I mean, in 1 minute time frame is just so rough. So that would be B, and which means here we would have our 1, 2, and our base channel would look like this. So we currently would be waiting for a breakout. I know that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 would technically check out, but the retracement here is 50%, which would also be okay. That one is 38.2. And if it would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which would make it a leading diagonal, and then that would be wave 2, A, B, C, and that would be the next 1, 2, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in progress. Yeah, like it just gets too much if we look too close. But yeah, like, so based on rough labeling of even the 5 minute, it might be possible that we see like 137 or 237 now. So sorry, to finish up this counter trend move or counter trend. Like, because currently if it's a wave 4, the trend would be downwards. So yeah, counter trend move as wave 4 or wave 2, sorry, to 237, and then from there we go down further. But it's also possible that the count here is different, so that this checks out a little bit different and that we go straight down. So like the thing, in my opinion, the one thing that's going to happen, however, is that we're going to go down, and in a perfect world, or in a perfect zigzag, not in a perfect world, we would go down to 219.31. And yeah, in reality, however, I think we will go down further, first of all, to touch at least the median here, but probably, as said, to also close this gap here, which is at 213 or 212. So doesn't make a huge difference in that, yeah. Oh, yeah. With that, I'm actually going to take a short break, and yeah, I'm going to be back in 10 minutes. So yeah, it's going to be anyway boring to watch in quotes, like, because we just see the price drop. Yeah. So be right back. Enjoy the charts. back again. So yeah, like not much happened. Price moves down further, and we'll just have to wait and see how far we go. And yeah, it's kind of like a little boring, but I'm gonna use the time to check if I can get a few other things done already, on my phone at least. I really need to move some screens back here or buy some screens so that I can also get things done when nothing's moving, or when we're waiting for it to move in the direction that I think it should move. Now where's that stupid Discord app? There. And yeah, so for a change, by the way, water. My wife found those amazing bottles. I don't know, like it's made out of tritan, yeah, whatever that is, eco-friendly and BPA-free. And they feel super nice, and they also have like timestamps on the side for how much you should drink until when. I'm obviously lacking behind today. So, but yeah, that fancy bottle causes me to drink more than usual, which obviously is a benefit. Skip for now. And okay, mark is unread. It's hard for me to see the screen with the lights shining. Which Discord is that? Can I mute that entire server? Okay, we'll need to do that on desktop. But yeah, considering that we have a stronger green candle here, it could indicate that this entire thing here is wave 1 of the impulse. So 1, 2, and then 3, 4, 5 that should take us down here. But we'll have to, as said, wait and see. And yeah, so okay, can only check that later. Mark as unread on the computer as well, so close that. And how far would we have to go here? So if this would be our wave 1, 2, oh, then we actually already almost touched it already. So 237.30 would be the exact 38.2 point. So we could see a little bit more upwards movement here to touch that line, theoretically to even go to 241, which I wouldn't expect, to be honest. Or, well, if we would have that, if it would reach 241, and depending on where it would reach it, might be possible that it goes higher, so like 241, to give us a lower base channel, 3, 4, 5. On the other hand, that followed by a steeper drop, 4, 5, or it might not follow Kennedy channeling technique in this case, but yeah, like, so 237 to 241, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to get down here. I mean, on the other hand, if we just use things like support and resistance levels and so on, then it would be also possible that this is where we bounce off to the upside, and in which case this would not be a perfect zigzag. Although it could be a double zigzag if we would label it A, B, C with like not a perfect zigzag followed by A, B, C, not a perfect zigzag followed by A, B, C. Yeah, so we will actually know if we bounce off from 237 or 241. So in that area, if we reach that and bounce off from here, then we would know that my assumption that we will go down till here is like still very much alive. And otherwise, if we go beyond 241, it might be that this is just not a perfect zigzag, but either some weird zigzag combination, and that wave 4 ends here and wave 5 then is in the progress. So as always, gotta love the flexibility of Elliott wave theory. I also think, honestly, depending on how much movement we see in the next couple of minutes, that I'm not going to stream till the market closes today, but that we're going to call it a day so I can get some other things done as well. And usually if I go offline, that's when the candles move against my labeling. So if I were to go offline now, it's likely that the price suddenly moves up to indicate that we won't see that bottom anymore. So at least that's what usually happens based on previous streams. But yeah, like even, I mean, I still think that this labeling is the most accurate one. Obviously, we don't get to this point here in the past, but so our wave C here would be a little longer in time, but in price, I still think there's a high chance that it will check out, especially considering that we are bouncing off at 237, or at least it looks like we're about to bounce off from 237 right now. And yeah, like again, might go here, might also close the gap at 212 and finish wave 4 and then go up from there, or finish the first part of wave 4, go up in a zigzag and then have some other zigzag or triangle or flat correction in a sideways movement for wave 4 and then go up from there. And then, in my opinion, next stop for this green wave 5 would be, in my opinion, $300, and then there we would bounce again and then go up further. really at some point would be nice to just day trade. I mean, it would be a lot of work, but during the streams it would be nice to just use the interactive broker accounts and day trade in some stock that has momentum based on Elliott wave theory. Might also make the stream more exciting and providers like, I mean, it's one thing to say, I think the price will drop to there. The logical action, if it wouldn't be GameStop, where we're hoping for a short squeeze and we're reducing the supply of shares by holding, is the smart thing in my opinion to do. But if it were not GameStop, then obviously actually selling shares and then buying them, or setting the pending buy orders again and so on, to see how much profit we can actually make when we trade based on labeling. So to see, even when we are wrong from time to time, how much profit or loss we occur by following the labeling that I can come up with, would actually make it more interesting in the stream. But we likely will only get to that in the, I don't know, maybe in a couple of months, or maybe even already in a couple of weeks, when we have more employees that take more of the tasks from my list, so I have more time to focus on new tasks. How does this look on 1 minute? Yeah. Up, bounce, yeah, so. And here, we also had 38 point, or not, like, no, there we had 50. Oh, GameStop website is now finally also available in Europe. Previously it was geo-blocked, so access from Europe didn't bring anything but an error. Might actually check that out. Still geo-blocked, so Europe works, but Ukraine doesn't. Okay. So we'll need then to use a VPN for that, which I could actually do right now as well. So the smart location Netherlands. Okay, there we go. Which might prevent bar chart from working. Didn't think of that, because there we have also geo-block, but for Ukraine. Okay, so no GameStop right now, so we'll check that later then. But it's good to know that the website, at least now, is for Europe as well available. Or the website is now available from Europe as well. Okay, also yeah, boring. Boring, 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 boring. Oh yeah, I still have to check that as well. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I think we're gonna call it a day. Like I'm like, yeah, not super motivated to watch this slow development right now. As said, in my opinion, from here we will go down. We will likely see 220, but if we see that, potentially we'll see 212 or 210 to close the gap, and that might be the end of wave 4, or it might just be the end of the first part of wave 4, but then after that we would go up and move sideways and finish wave 4, and from there then go up further. Any case, if I'm wrong, it would be probably quite soon, so we would see upwards movement. Randomized, welcome to have you here. My lines also tells me it might go down to 200 to 20 range this time before meeting in June. Yeah, like, I mean, if I'm wrong, it would likely happen here already. I think then it would be that we go up from here, and this is just not a perfect zigzag. Because technically, if we would want to, we could say, yeah, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that already would be wave C of a zigzag then. And then this would already be the start of the next impulse. But I don't think that's the case. I think this gap will also close. We will go to suffer or see it suffering to go down. I don't expect it to go much lower than 210. Like, yeah, like it might go a little lower. We might, technically we might touch 200. It would then be the base, the bottom of the base channel, as we can see here. Do you know the Tom D-Mark indicator? No, haven't heard of that one. And it's not installed in Motive Wave. TD9. D-Mark Analytics. Apparently there are a few. And all of them are trademarked or registered trademarks. So it just highlights the 61.8% or probably 38. It might be that that's not the Tom D-Mark indicator, but a different one. That's nothing super, I mean, what I see right now, it's nothing super fancy. Like you would have, I mean, that you have here the price target, that's interesting, but you would have your, basically, a trend line that you draw here, you have a breakout through the trend line, you buy. Although technically you wouldn't want to buy here, you would want to have one candle that already closes, and then you would likely buy with this one here. Yeah, or maybe even have one fully outside and buy on the next. So you would buy actually later to make sure that it's not a false breakout of some kind. It's always hard, you know, like, because in those scenarios, very often they pick perfect or very close to perfect situations. Now, why do I precisely have to use this one and this one, or those 2 points? Could I technically not connect this point here with that point, and then I would have my fake breakout already here, although my stop loss based on those 2 lines would be way lower, and it would still, the trade would still be open and so on, and would still make profit. So sequential, however that works. One, two, 1, 2. So he counts the numbers of, no, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and on 9 he would sell. 7, 8. Okay, there's some system. Yeah, I'm sure it looks like there's a lot of different. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. If we think about it, we would have 1, 2. How many, like, I mean, we count 1, 2, but he likely counts 1, 2, 3, 4. Hi Jeff, great to have you here. Yeah, I was just about to wrap things up for today. I mean, it might be worth looking into, but I would first like to actually master Elliott wave theory, like to a degree where my error rate becomes less. I think really the point is to probably, I don't know, maybe probably already with the next stream we might start. So since I still have, I think, $1,000 something on from which we can spend or invest everything but $500 that no, actually we don't use data feeds from TradingView anymore, from Interactive Brokers. So yeah, we could day trade with the other $1,000. Wouldn't do that in GameStop, but we could pick another stock, like for all I care, we could pick Tesla to try to trade the counter trends and to put numbers to the labeling, so in terms of actual results to the labeling. Yeah? Because while it's interesting that we're labeling here, like I personally am just holding my shares, I'm not selling them because I expect it to go down here to then buy them again cheaper and so on. So yeah, if you want to take a look, there's a video. Oh yeah, that's nice that you just stopped by to say good weekend for you and your wife. Thank you. Same to you and your family, of course. Tom D-Mark trading the 9s. I think I've heard, yeah, but I mean, that's advertising, so probably this one here from 10 years ago with 80,000 views. Yep, anyone, we already talked about it in the beginning of the stream, like eToro now offers votes, which is great. They basically just set up a type form and email user the link with custom parameters for their username and their account email address, so they can then match the answers that you submit in the type form with your eToro account, and which is great. Yeah, like I also think it's the step in the right direction. Yeah, so. But yeah, I will look into D-Marks, or at least I will bookmark it. I cannot promise that I will find the time to look at it or make the time to look at it. But yeah, like last but not least, so I said, like personally expected and randomized also expected to potentially drop to 220 or lower. Now we had here the bounce at 237. Now we go a little bit higher. I said the next point that I consider where it should bounce, if this is 1-2 on the way down, would be 241 or in the area on the way there. On the other hand, we currently touched our base channel, yeah, which usually wave 4 would touch the base channel. Sometimes it touches the medium or the bottom. So it's also possible that it from here on goes upwards. Yeah, so we will see once we go beyond 241. And it would become clear that, okay, we turn around here, or we still bounce from this area and go lower. So the moment we go below, whatever that is, 230, I would say, it would be clear that we also will see the 220 mark and potentially 210 to close the gap. Yeah. Now I'm always interested, like, but my backlog of things I want to look at just becomes bigger and bigger. And it's a little bit like, you know, in digital marketing, you would talk about shiny object syndrome. So people that just buy one course, that how to be rich or how to become rich, yeah, and then they don't follow the course, they don't do what the course teaches, but they just buy the next course and the next course, yeah. And I just feel like while there are definitely many great strategies out there and a lot of data that one can use for better predictions or analysis of stocks and predictions or forecasts, I think if I look at too many things, it just would like make it harder. Like I really want to focus on Elliott wave theory to master it to some degree. I mean, I'm sure I will always struggle with some corrective wave patterns, and then add additional strategies that I can combine in quotes, like maybe, maybe start using more indicators like the RSI, or look at the volume data to try to see if I can, based on volume differences, confirm or unconfirm. No, unconfirmed. Yeah, like today my English really sucks apparently. But yeah, to use additional indicators and elements that I have available to confirm my Elliott wave count. Yeah. And then look at other strategies that might combine or might be based on Elliott wave theory to see if they maybe would help to look at it from a different perspective, to again help identify or improve the wave counts, and maybe help to predict the price areas more accurately. So I think there's still a long way to go. And anyway, I'm gonna call it a day for now. So it's been my absolute pleasure to stream, although we just saw it dropping today. Monday the market is closed, which I've been told. So yeah, like I should look more often on the calendar, and which means likely, I mean, it's possible that we go down here quite fast, and we already see some recovery today, but I would actually expect that we likely for the rest of the day go down, considering that the max pain is at 200. We might, as I said, close the gap at 212, maybe go a little lower. I still would expect it to close above 200 today. And then on Monday, we definitely would see some upwards movement. There's no guarantee that we will go beyond 0.3 in the very near future, because again, this corrective pattern, even if this plays out as a zigzag, could still turn into a double three, where we would recover a little bit and then have some sideways movement in a flat correction or a zigzag or a triangle, and then go up from there. So, but I think, yeah, like, I mean, we'll see with the next few candles, either we go above 241. We already see we got quite close here, and now we have a strong red candle. So it looks like the downwards movement will prevail, but yeah, have to wait and see. Anyway, so it's been my pleasure. Jeff, thanks for sharing the rocky outcrop. Also gonna, I assume you're also talking about a guy on YouTube. Yep, sounds like a guy on YouTube. Yep. I'll also bookmark it, hopefully, or maybe I'll find the time for it. And yeah, everyone a pleasant weekend. So Monday we won't have a stream. Monday and Tuesday our new content manager starts, so we will have, I will not have time to stream on Tuesday either, which means next stream is likely going to happen next Friday. As always, don't forget, if you haven't already, smash the subscribe button and the bell icon so you get an email once I go live. And with that, I wish all of you also a very pleasant weekend, and see you all hopefully next week. So till then, bye-bye. Am I still live? It's really hard to know when I can press that button. I think now I can. So bye-bye again.